Hello, everyone. How are you doing? We are okay. That's weird. My live stream is not actually showing on the chat side, so that's okay. That's okay. We just click over, have a second window. We got this covered. All right. How is everyone doing tonight? Okay, this is really weird because I'm seeing the delay this time. So, okay, just so we get this out of the way, since we are having a video feed delay and the live chat's only showing up on the offset screen here. If you have a question, I miss it, I apologize. I will try to get to them all, but if it's important, we do have the super chat function where you can basically donate a few dollars and it'll flash it up real big in front of me and make me see it. But I will try to scroll back and forth to make sure I get all the questions as they come. YouTube's been doing a lot of updates this week, so apparently that's one of the things that we'll just have to comment on, won't we? But we'll get that fixed. No problems. All right, everyone. Let's see. Mysterious, welcome. Anubis, welcome. Roses, Halloween. Dennis, Dragon of the West, Mathilda. Welcome back. Selena, welcome back. Hey, Lauren, you made it. I'm sorry you got a headache, dear. That sucks. Halloween, sorry you got a toothache. That's no fun. Merrick, welcome. Sakura, good to see you. We got a full house in here, people. Says we got 13 people watching. Make sure you hit that like button so, boost the algorithm. Let YouTube know you like what we're doing. This has been a crazy, crazy busy week for me. Been getting a lot of work done drafting and working on the Dragon Magic 102 course, as well as the Rune Magic videos and / classes. And I actually been meditating and kicking around the ideal of attempting to take the Rune class and do it as a video playlist. I don't know how well it will function or won't function. We've talked about this experiment a time or two. And where the Rune class kind of has that feel that it could go either way, I'm really leaning toward using it as the experiment to see if we could do a playlist style for some of the classes that wouldn't require the full online school option. Similar to kind of the free class that we put up there. We did make it on the school so that everything's contained and easier to work through. There's a lot of fears with the playlist concept, so this might be a time to try it out. Oh, sweet. Okay, hold on. I think we just figured something out here, people. Oh, yeah. We got something happening now. Okay, yes, I fixed the chat. So technically they have this little thing I can pop out the chat now. So let's see where we're at here. Hopefully this will actually work and keep up with everything. Let's make sure it's working here. Yeah, chat moves super quick on me a lot of the times here. So. All right. Yes, it is working. Yeah. Look at that. I figured something technical out, people. Go me. Go me. Nimbus, I appreciate the compliment, man. I don't know about the best. I sure try not to blow myself up, but I appreciate the compliment. Merrick, it's great to hear, man. I mean, definitely drop it in here if you feel like sharing it, or message me over on Discord. I'd love to hear about it. And it keeps restricting some messages and does not let me even approve them. So I don't know what's going on here tonight. Just so y'all know that it's still acting weird. No, it's fine. It's fine, Celine. Like I said, if normally it like lets me preview it and stuff. I don't know what's going on tonight. Mathilda, thank you for the super chat. Thank you very much. Yeah, let's tell it to work. Awesome, Merrick. That is great. Glad to hear it. The Morgan's fun to work with. She can get serious, but she can be a lot of fun to work with. Oh, it's the iPad. Okay. Well, good to see you here at least, Peachy. We appreciate you being here, even if you're on your phone. It's all good. So, yeah, like I was saying, before everything went cray-cray on me, I am going to be working on getting a playlist of rune videos going, and I'm going to try and, as they're filmed and edited, add them to the playlist. So instead of waiting on the full class, we can attempt to do the class in that method and do a nice little experiment that way. So you guys will have to let me know how you like that when that releases. So for those of you who's been interested in the runes, get ready; those are coming. Also, like I said, been working on the Dragon Magic classes. Been getting a lot of questions about Tiamat, and still looking to possibly get that video up hopefully soon. But for those who've asked, no, it doesn't look like at this time Tiamat will take any part in the Dragon Magic classes. That's subject to change, but if she does, she probably won't show up till 103 at the very least, just so y'all know. And right now, she doesn't seem too interested in the concept. All right, let's see. Make sure I'm not too lost on questions here. Wingstop is being mean. That's not nice of them. That reminds me, y'all may actually, by my fault this time, hear the doorbell. We ordered some food. It's on the way, so it didn't get here in time for the stream. So this time the doorbell may actually ring and it be my fault. But luckily, I don't have to go get the food. So yay. Why 103? Well, Tiamat is a chaos dragon, and since you won't even be working with the chaos ruler until 103, you probably there's no way we would be introducing Tiamat until that point. Though that said, there is the theoretical possibility she may not poke her head up until 104. She could choose to do that. But right now, I don't know. She seems to have no interest in any of them, so it's best to just assume she won't be in any of them. Oh, I was talking about the rune classes, making them into a playlist on YouTube instead of a class over on the school, and testing out that format with the rune class this time. Since we know the larger classes like the Dragon Magic class and stuff can't be a playlist, I am wanting to attempt to try the format with the smaller classes at the very least. Sakura, yeah, if you haven't felt a presence in 2 days, even if you're doing the Dragon's Flame ritual and meditating and reaching out to your guardian just to like speak with them, go ahead and repeat the ritual and see what happens there. But you may actually have to do a ritual and actually reach out to them, not necessarily in the finding your guardian ritual, but just reach out to them and kind of talk to them some to get their attention for a little while to help you build up that relationship. That's actually not that unusual. Tips on adding a therapist while doing shadow work. Actually, it's not a bad idea. Shadow work dredges up a lot of issues and problems, and it can be great to have a trained therapist to chat with and talk to. Tips on it: find a therapist that's actually going to help you and going to work with you. Um, do they have to know you practice magic? Do they have to understand that concept? Not necessarily. It can be helpful. But the big thing is with your therapist is when you are talking with them and everything and working with them, just be open with the emotions that you're feeling and the, I guess, past traumas and stuff that the shadow work is digging up. Cool, she can keep her secrets. I do know she's wanting to do a bit more direct work with me coming up. Tiamat Peachy, because you say, you say let her keep her secrets. Um, so we'll see how that goes. I'm actually looking forward to that and actually getting to share that with you all. Let's see here, mysterious. And okay, let's see. Well, it sounds like you got a good result there, Mysterious. So, for those, obviously, read this out, it's Mysterious talks about the bone spell I went over with during the Baneful Magic episode. They done it during a bonfire outdoor, and they used it against poverty and bad luck, and smashed it with a sledgehammer. Awesome. Um, I was a wreck the next day, but I feel really different since. Yeah, like I said, it sounds like you got a really good, fair result happening there. Got that energy and motion, so congrats on that. And yep, there's the doorbell right on cue. Yeah, no, I wouldn't be in a rush to meet her either. There's a few magicians who's gotten themselves in trouble with her. Some of them that I actually really adored their work, so that was kind of sad. Well, congrats on meeting Hades. He's definitely a great entity to work with. I enjoyed my time with him. And yeah, I can see his wife laughing at you for hugging him, considering I'm sure she knows the reason you had to hug him. So yeah, makes total sense here. So let's see, what else did I manage to get done? I worked with Mab a bit this week, got some work done there. And I've had to juggle a few different students and just business aspects of stuff. So my rituals have been keeping me really crazy busy. I have managed to pop into the Discord and answer some questions and, handle a few things. This has not been my best Discord week. I apologize for that. And we are getting ready for those who are Patreon supporters. We are already getting ready for next month's group spell working, where we try to direct some energy to help you out, get some blessings, get some benefits and stuff like that moving in your life. So, for those who are tier 2 or 3 Patreon members, the post is up on Patreon. If you have any special requests you want us to pay attention to, make sure we get, drop them there, or in the Discord in the Patreon section. You can drop the request there, and I'll make sure to add it to the list. And if you're not a Patreon supporter, there'll be a link below. You can jump over and support us there. And you can be included in that particular spell working. Dennis, when did I first start practicing magic? If I This is actually kind of a hard question because seriously and focused, I think I was somewhere between 23 and 25. Um, but the concepts of metaphysics and stuff like that, I was looking into much, much earlier, even when I was still in the church. Again, that science brain of mine, I was always trying to understand spiritual matters and science and, string theory and those weird things like that. So, um, that you could probably trace back all the way to like age somewhere, I'd say around 13-ish. So it depends on what point you actually determine my official start. So, I mean, I really didn't start focusing on the practice of magic or looking into changing religions until 25. And then, of course, wasn't long after that, I decided I'm not a religious guy. But the concepts and everything, I've really been studying the philosophies, the ideals, and everything since 13. Ariel, hey, good to have you. Oh, Lauren Gamble asks, how often do I communicate with various deities and dragons outside asking them about the course stuff? Honestly, quite often. So, deities. I really don't work with a lot of deities on the regular. That said, Freya, Odin, and Loki. I really see them about every day, if not every other day. Those three just they kind of hang around the house anymore. And I do talk to them on the regular quite often, whether it be in ritual or just out loud getting a quick connection to chat with them or them popping in to chat with me. The nine rulers, again, them I talk to very regularly, at least. I talk to all nine of them at least 3 times a week minimum. And that's if they're not wandering in to talk to me about something or tell me of a joke or ask me a question. For example, I was making fun of the Chaos Ruler earlier this week in Discord, and he caught wind of it. And he decided to pop in and be like, "You were seriously telling that story?" He's like, "It was a misunderstanding." And it's like, well, But yeah, I talk to them quite often. Then other entities I work with, like let's say Azazel. I do talk with Azazel probably 2, 3 times a month on average, even when I'm not working with him very directly. I'd like to check in with him. One of the prime entities that work with him, some of you may have heard, it's an entity known as Suntalak. I actually work with that particular entity once a week. Um, but that's when we do work together, we do the work and then we end up chatting for 30 minutes to an hour. So I stay pretty busy and communicative with all these entities. Um, and that's a summary of how I would do it. So and yeah, you're right. When we are working with the courses and doing the filming, obviously my communication with them either goes up or everything stays business focused. But even without coursework and stuff, we stay in contact a lot. I'm just that way with my friends. Selena, that's awesome to hear. Yeah, I think I responded to your comment on YouTube, but for those who don't know, she was having an issue with some birds and was wondering if a deity was reaching out. And it looks like it was Hecate. She chanted Hecate's name 13 times and got a massive response by a bush literally starting to shake beside her. So very awesome to hear. Always love that. Selena, the best way to find out is now that you got that meditation to back it up, reach out to her, see if you can get a response and talk to her. Just reach out and talk to her. That's the best way to do it in the end. Naveed, do I do love/lust magic for clients, and how much do I charge? Not anymore, not these days. All my spellwork services have been taken down off the site. And the main reason is people were not following through on their end, and they were not always giving me the full story when they wanted spellwork done. So I do not do it for clients any longer. So no. Yeah, PG. I mean, talking to them, I do talk to at least some of the rulers every day. It's just my Rolodex of entities at this point has just gotten so big. Oh, he didn't mind. I mean, it wasn't a joke. I forgot what we were talking about. Anyways, it came up where we were talking about entities enjoying foods here on Earth, and he was talking about one of his favorite things, and he was trying to describe it to me, and it ended up being steel rebarb, is what it was he was talking about, because dragons can't eat damn near anything. Uh, and I was like, yeah, we don't count that as food. That's why I wasn't understanding where you're going with this. So that was kind of fun. But yeah, I mean, he was a little embarrassed. He wasn't upset at all. It was all good. Lauren wants to know how long it took me to cultivate those close relationships to where they would randomly drop in. It differs from entity to entity. I'll admit the first four draconic rulers, if you work about a month with them dedicatedly, you should have that relationship. They are very friendly, those four, and they'll start hanging around a lot. Odin, it took a month or two before he'd start dropping in randomly. He was more wanting to see if I was going to do the work and reach out to him. Freya didn't take long, like under a week, she was just popping in constantly. But again, you got to understand that they're going to react to each person differently, so it depends on the personalities. So it differs. Azazel, kind of the same thing with Odin, actually. He kept his distance more for a while, not because he didn't enjoy the company, but he was wanting to see if I would do the work, and he needed me to do that and come to him first. But I guess with him, it was like 6 or 8 months once he got me through those initial steps where he just started popping in at random. He is actually the one that pops in the least so far, I have to say. Him or no, it's him. I was going to say Hell, but that changed recently, like this year. She started popping in a lot more. So it's going to differ for everybody, but if you have kind of an open door, friendship policy, they'll totally use it. I'm the one that snitched on the Chaos Ruler. That was totally my fault. Okay, Malangle asks, any ideals for using Magick to quit smoking cigarettes? Yes. I use a 2-step process for any of the clients I get who wants to stop smoking. And first off, you need to do a long-term candle spell at least once or twice a week where you're focusing on you kick the habit, you're cigarette free in the story, no cravings. That'll be the focus of the spell. But you also want to find a way to occupy your hands. So what I usually recommend is either chewing gum or a beverage of some kind like tea, where you can actually get that physical replacement for having the cigarette. That's actually one of the biggest things. People they get bored and they got to smoke because they ain't got nothing else to do. So if you get bored and you make yourself a cup of tea or you get out that pack of gum, you can actually replace that ritual in that way. And what I would do is actually take, like, if you buy a tea by the box or whatever, enchant the whole box. So every time you drink that tea or chew that gum, you are actually partaking in a form of kitchen witchery, where it also further helps you not only overcome the craving but break the habit. So very useful to do it in that two-step process there. Great question, by the way. Okay, so who, in my opinion, is the best? So if you're looking for, well, you specifically said lust. So I would go with Citry on that one. Citry is a really good one for lust magic and whatnots. I know a lot of magicians who use Citry for hookup culture. I'll be honest, that's what they use him for. Um, and if that's your goal and that's what floats your boat, no problem, no harm done. Um, Though if you're trying to use it in fact of, like, changing someone's view or mind and forcing them to love you, you can expect that to go badly for you because their free will's always gonna be fighting the spell in the long term, and it won't be long before they realize what's happened, and they're gonna know you did something, and even if they can't figure it out, their subconscious will basically turn them against you, so you gotta be careful with that. That's one reason I don't really, you gotta be careful with how you do a love spell or lust spell. Let's see, Sakura, when you first started practicing, did you feel like you were unable to continue a lot of the time? Like, oh yeah, Sakura, I won't lie. A lot when I first started. Again, my scientific mind got in the way. It was always the doubt and the, well, again, religion wasn't very kind to me, so I was always worried, is it just me, just empty talking to the air again? So there was a lot of hurdles and a lot of doubt to overcome. And yeah, there's a lot of times I felt like just closing up shop and giving up. Um, but I kept my focus on the little things. And as the little things piled up and started showing results of one kind or another, that propelled me forward. Though that's one reason I am such a big focus on results, because as those manifestations start yielding results, it's a lot easier to continue moving forward. Okay, Rose has asked the best way to do magic while being a full-time student. Oh, ooh, oh, that's are you talking time-wise or location and accessibility-wise, Roses? Because time-wise, time management's the only way to do it. It really is. And when you sit down to do your rituals, you need to know what you're doing them for. So, what I would do when I'm really crunched for time, for example, I will sit down, I'll do my Dragon's Flame ritual, I'll do a hailing ritual after I've set my space using the Dragon's Flame ritual. And then if I have any spell work, I go ahead and knock it out of the way immediately. And then I would do my meditation work and everything and get that out of the way. And then I just get up and leave the room. Working's done. So, I'd have to adjust the meditation time based on what time I had, but that is pretty much my crunch time process. And that's what a lot of my students who are full-time students, they utilize that same process. Yeah, Azazel, as in the demon Azazel, yes. Selena. Selena wants to know, do you have any lucky numbers you often see? Mine is the time, which according to Google means good job, continue doing. Oddly enough, this is kind of weird. when it comes to numerology, lucky numbers, angel numbers, and stuff, I don't do a lot with them. Even what research I've done on them, I can usually advise on them and stuff, but I don't do a lot with them. That said, I can still answer your question because yes, like 777 and the number 9. As an old gambler, all lucky sevens has always meant something to me. It's something that's always been there. Of course, snake eyes on dice and rolling two sixes again. That gambling aspect and the nine just keeps popping up everywhere for me, whether it be in birthdays or the Norse. And when I got into Norse magic and found out 9 was an important number in Norse, that just kind of stuck in my head like a splinter. So those are really the only ones that tend to jump out at me the most. And other than the Norse one having the meaning, the 9, the rest of it just comes from old gambler superstition. Because I still am. I'm still an old gambler. My wife, she like freaks out anyone somebody says the words "I dare you" because she knows that odds are I'm going to be dumb enough to do it. Let's see here. What we got here. My eyes are a little blurry today. I didn't get much sleep. Woo. This is what happens when you don't sleep, people. Yeah, once you kick that muscle memory for smoking, it's amazing how much easier it gets. Anubis asks, is the that must be co-magician dragon or guardian dragon more like a teacher for you when you're starting out? And if you're lost in your path or still searching for your main focus, will they help? Okay, Anubis, that's actually a great question. They do follow the more traditional dragon roles. That said, the co-magician is the primary homeroom teacher. They're going to be the main teacher for you in dragon magic. And the guardian dragon actually acts as kind of the teacher's aide in the classroom, if you know what I'm saying there, to draw an analogy to this. And that said, if you don't exactly know what your dedicated path is or where you want to go, yeah, they'll totally help you. Because for them, they're building a friendship. Okay. So you're starting in Dragon Magic, you're trying it out. It's not for everybody. But to them, the friendship you're building, that's legit. Even if you decide Dragon Magic's not for you, you've still got two great friends there that'll be by your side. So yeah, they'll totally help you. And in fact, it's the dragons that keep pointing me to all these different things I research a lot of times. If I So, I mean, some of it's me, some of it's like, I wonder. But yeah, I've not seen them restrict any pathway or anything. They're very helpful for helping you find what is actually going to benefit you and what's going to make you happy. Maurice Collier wants to know, when I do invocation, do I have to call the four elements before I start? That depends on your practice. It really does. In Wicca, the four elements, most people do the four elements. They'll tell you never do magic without casting a circle. In other forms of magic, that's not the case. I do a lot of magic and a lot of workings where I never cast a circle. Invocation, I don't do invocation until I've worked with an entity a lot. I will even evoke it before I invoke it because you're pulling that energy into you, and that can actually leave a fingerprint and cause some changes. So I do invocation much later after starting to work with an entity. But no, you don't have to. It depends on your practice, your path, and your traditions that you're following. And that can differ from practice to practice. I've actually done impromptu invocations where I literally was basically sitting on the couch and wanted to reach out to an entity. Hell actually was the one I last done it with. No circles, no nothing. I just entered trance, called on her, and invoked her. So you don't have to. Shana Martin, I apologize if I messed that name up. Shanae Martin asks, what does it take to start making contact with spirits, deities, and dragons? Honestly, there's a few different steps. One, you do need to work on your arcane senses a bit, and meditation helps. And you can start doing it in meditation. There's different levels of contact. So meditation is actually the easiest. In which case you would usually just call to the entity and or even repeat their name over and over as kind of a mantra to get the connection. Talk to them as you would a normal person, and then quiet your mind and listen for the answers. Um, so there are a couple videos on how to find deities and start working with them on the channel, as well as a simple ritual for contacting them. But that's the easiest way. Obviously, when you move into the more advanced stages like evocation, you do have to have more prerequisites in your practice before you do that. Because evocation, you've got to have your arcane senses built up so that you can have a real time live communication feed going, whether it be through contact evocation, astral evocation, or full blown evocation. But yeah, you can start with basic meditation. Sakara says, yeah, I feel like a lot of times I'm just talking to nothing. And yes, you will get that feeling. I had that for a long time, especially coming from a previous religion where I saw no results at all for years on end. So that's a tricky one. But it was one I eventually did get over. And honestly, the more the entities were responding and the more I realized they were trying to communicate with me, and even when I couldn't hear them, they were still trying. It really helped a lot. Mysterious, I'm trying to recall the rune song in the Havamal. I'm gonna have to go back. Could you jog my memory on give me a passage or two from it? Because I remember where he talks about the spells. We don't know that necessarily the spells are the runes. That's never made clear. But we do talk he talks a little bit about the runes in other areas. But I mean, I love the Havamal by and large. I mean, I actually do. I think it's a great bit of literature. Mr. Lavender White Wolf wants to know, are there any dragons that connect with Greek mythology? So if you're asking for a direct connection, as this is a Greek mythology dragon, I actually don't know. Greek mythology isn't my strongest point. My wife might know that. Unfortunately, she has done buggered off. She got the pizza and ran. Don't blame her. Totally would too. So that said, all 9 rulers will work within the Greek pantheon and actually know quite a bit about Greek mythology, especially the first 4, Coralegra, Terraphana, Ingesalor, and Zephyrsip. So all 4 of them can, though they're not directly tied to the old Greek myths. And I'd have to get back with you on that to see if there are, because Greek's just not ones I've worked with a lot. Great question, though. I'm sorry I didn't have a better answer for you on that one. Roses, that's a tricky one. How to know when you're talking to an entity and not talking to yourself in the head. This one for me was one of the hardest ones. So I actually had to start presenting the entity with information I couldn't have. There's no way I could have that information. And I'd be having conversations or getting gnosis that I couldn't have had it prior. And this is where the journal really comes in handy. And you make those notations and you write it down. And then either what they tell you actually comes to pass and manifest, and you couldn't have known it, or you actually look and research what they're telling you to try and find confirmations of the information they give you. Again, that's one of those reasons I tell every practitioner, always keep a journal, always journal all your workings, especially your conversations with entities. Because when you first start working and you first are starting out, most entities, due to the limitations of your arcane senses when you first start, it's going to feel very much like their communication to you is your own thoughts. But it's through that journal and the manifestations that you're going to realize that wasn't my thought. I couldn't have had that information, but it's true and it works. Roses wants to know why Greek, Norse, and Celtic pantheons are the most popular in terms of practitioners choose to work with. Well, Greek and Celtic were the two primary when Wicca made its comeback. Those were the two big pantheons to pull on lore-wise, and they had some really cool myths, let's be honest. And as the Norse belief system started to make its resurgence and make its comeback, it brought a different flavor, a different feel to it. And there was that feel of self-reliance and that the gods almost felt more human. So it really brought something new to the forefront, and there was enough myth and lore there to really sink your teeth into. But at the same time, Norse is also one of the ones that has the least lore to it. It's very much reconstruction, so it's kind of a magician's playground where gnosis really is kind of the reliant thing. So a lot of people were drawn to that. And they also they all deal with a sense of community, which really was important. That's the major reasons I've heard that everyone's drawn to them. Of course, everyone's going to have their own personal preference. Greek has a special place in my heart because my wife back in high school randomly pops up in my English class and drags me out to her Latin class. They were having a big Greek festival day thing, and she dragged me out. And since it was educational, I was allowed to skip class. And she didn't tell me she was going to do this. She just surprised me with it. And I think we even watched Disney's Hercules because it was just released on DVD or something back then. We're old, or I'm old. She's not. So she's always loved Greek myth. So Greek was always one of those things her and I would always talk about. And Norse, well, they reached out to me on that one. That wasn't one I chose. But everyone has their own personal thing on that one. I hope that helps answer your question. Let's see. Cara says she's been using my videos I recommended to help her start learning. They've been very helpful. Well, thank you, Cara. I'm glad to hear it. What time is it here, Selena? We got 7:44 p.m., so it's in the evening here. Let's see here. Dennis, my man. Whoa, $24.99 super chat. Dennis, big mugs up to you, my man. Thank you. What's your question? Thank you for your hard work and sharing your. Oh, well, you're welcome. You are very welcome. I'm happy to do it. Thank you for supporting the cause of helping me get this information out, Dennis. Highly appreciate that. You guys are absolutely awesome. And Dennis, I hope you're enjoying that coffee cup you got too. I remember seeing your picture of it. And yes, I'm drinking a lot of coffee. Wife made skulls Skulls of My Enemies Tonight. Ooh, I love that blend. So yes, okay, yes. Okay, thank you, Mysterious. Thank you for getting that. That is the section where he's talking about the different spells he knows. And it's never made clear whether it's the runes or just spells. Me personally, I suspect that they are spells that are cast via the runes. And I actually do find it fascinating. And to be honest, it's kind of cool you brought it up because I'm actually planning to do an entire path working with Odin and the runes, specifically focused on that section of the Havamal. And that is something I'm planning to share with you all, whether it be in video or here in the live stream or both. Um, so yeah, that is really a cool thing that you brought up there. That's why when you mentioned it, I was like, wait, are you talking about the spells? But yeah, there's a lot of wisdom contained in that. If you actually sit and meditate on the spells, even though he doesn't tell exactly how they're used, at the same time, you can actually learn a lot just from meditating on the passages. And if you actually work with Odin specifically on it, he can actually teach you a lot of ways to harness those spells in multiple, what we would call spells. So many, many different ways and magics he can teach you through that. Let's see here. Would the spells in the Dragon Magic be okay? Yes, Sakura. Actually, yeah, hands on, those spells would be great to start with your doubts. In fact, they're going to help you with your doubts and they're going to start helping you get results. One thing I tell my students is if you're doubting the practice and you want results, start doing your spell work. Start keeping your journal, start recording it, because as those begin to manifest and as you start seeing the tangible changes in your life, that's when your doubts are going to fall away because you're going to see the effects, you're going to see the changes. And that's again why that journal is so important because sometimes those changes are subtle. But if you have a written record that you're reviewing once a month, you can easily see where you are now as opposed to where you were a month ago, and it really stands out then. So yeah, I'd totally go ahead and start those. Uh, Lavender Wolf is very connected to Greek mythology, which is why I asked about gods Zeus, Aphrodite, Athena, Freya, Zeus' first wife, so on. I have actually heard Zeus's first wife was Freya, which I always found interesting because of the Norse goddess Freya. But I don't know a lot of lore on that. It's been so long since I've heard it. I'm gonna have to look into that. Yes, there is a dragon to the right, and it's one that is wanting pizza. It is one of the twins. So yes, there is one just kind of right over there. Which is funny because anytime you want something to show up on camera, it won't. But then you're sitting here and they're like, "Hey, look at me!" Then they show up. Shanae Martin. Yes. Again, sorry if I messed up your name. Arcane senses. Yeah, most people do refer to these as different psychic abilities like clairvoyance, clairaudience, and all the different clairs. There's a video actually on the channel on the arcane senses. One thing that really puts me off about modern magic is people try to tell you you have to be born with this gift. It's special. It's something only a few people have, and that is bupkis. Everyone can actually learn to use all five of their arcane senses. And in that video, I actually go into a few exercises to help you start training them up and developing them and learn to use them. And over at workingdragonmystic.com, there's an online course free of charge, um, clear just focused on arcane sight because it is one of the more difficult ones to develop and it's so important. So I made sure that that class was over there for free. But yeah, it's the different psychic abilities, like being able to see energy or spirits, hear them, um, taste, actually, touch, smell. All of them are in there. Great question. Oh, Dennis is helping with the costume funds. Yes, yes, he is. The costume funds, which that 5K challenge, you all, I mean, we cleared, I think when I logged on, it was like 2,650 subs around there. So we're getting very close to 5K by Halloween. And my wife is, she's plotting. I won't call it planning. I will call it plotting. Let's call it what it is. It's plotting against me, and with you all, basically, even though she's not taking votes or anything. But yes, so it's looking more and more like I'm going to be dressed up into something. Whoa, jump. Oh man, we got questions popping in all over the place here. Whoa, I'm way behind. Yep, love the coffee mug. Wendy, welcome. Let's see. Well, yeah, those spells are perfectly fine, Secure. I think we covered that. Oh, that's a wonderful question, Shanae Martin. She asked, or he, I'm not sure, apologize if I messed that up. What reasons might someone decide that dragon magic isn't for them? Um, there's two major reasons. I mean, there's many, but the major ones is either A, dragons aren't uber religiously spiritual feeling. So if you're looking for the sacred spiritual feeling of magic, you kind of have to stretch it to get dragon magic to reach that feeling. It's doable. It's totally doable, but they focus more on self development and the magic and the independence. Another one is they do put a lot on self development and self sufficiency and self accountability. And they really aren't big on excuses. And some people just can't handle that. But for those who can, your progress, your results will be amazing, and you're going to end up with some absolutely awesome friends and entities and allies. But those are the two major reasons. Some people, they don't like dragon magic because the lack of literature currently out there. There's a lot of people, if they ain't got a book on it, they don't want to do with it, no matter what the results are. Um, and there are practitioners like myself trying to get more information out there and more info to try and fill in that gap. Um, but yeah, those are probably the biggest reasons that I know of. I mean, I'm sure other people have their reasons. I know at least one person, they decided Dragon Magic wasn't for them when they found out Core Allegra was going to actually require them to deal with their emotional baggage. They knew they had the baggage, they didn't care about the baggage, and they weren't going to work with it. And that's not an option. So they decided it wasn't for them in that particular case as well. Let's see. Ooh, hang on, it jumped again. Okay, this new chat box is driving me crazy, YouTube. Hey, Marlolo, glad you can make it. Sorry if I messed your name up. Rune divinations is in the Elder Futhark. I love it. It's one of my favorite forms of divinations. It's actually one of my top two. Scrying is my number one. That's always my go-to, but I love working with the runes. In fact, at the start of the stream, I was talking about the room class that I'm working on, and instead of doing the school, I'm attempting to see if I can do a playlist on YouTube for that class. So yeah, I love rune divinations. And yes, dragons are awesome, and I am so glad to hear you and your guardian dragon are getting along, and he or she is being very, very helpful. Morris, there's a video on the channel about finding your guardian dragon and your co-magician. You need the guardian dragon first to find your co-magician, but there are videos on the channel about how to do that. And the ritual needed for that's also on the channel. And if you think Dragon Magic might be for you, we do have a Dragon Magic 101 class over at the school that goes into deeper details, guided meditations, spell work, all kind. It goes really deep in there. Oh, you think a darkness dragon dropped by? If it's a darkness dragon, I would honestly hold up on that. Darkness Dragon at this point in time, if you're just starting with Terrafauna, is a bit like Pandora's box with very little, if any, hope in it. Darkness Dragons can bring a lot of baggage up very quickly. So you need to approach them with caution or not at all. I can't tell you not to do it. I would advise you not, but I can't tell you what to do on that one. Drake dressed, Roses says Drake dressed as a princess for Halloween would make my week. Well, Roses, I'm glad that would make your week, but I personally hope that's not what my wife chooses if we get to the 5K. Um, oh, Sakura, don't worry about it. It happens. I mean, seriously, I totally understand. Oh, Merlot, that's sweet of you. I appreciate that. I do the best I can. I don't know about being the best teacher, but I do the best I can. I appreciate it. Which one did I miss? Oh, do I know anything about Obey and how I can implement it in Mesopotamian magic? Right off the Obey, not certain. Mesopotamian magic. There are a few dragons, mainly Tiamat's the big one everyone knows about in Mesopotamian magic. And is it directly tied to dragon magic? No, they are actually very separate systems. In fact, it's Mesopotamian magic is its own system in and of itself. Though the draconian path, which again is not dragon magic, and there's actually a video on my channel describing the difference between draconian magic and dragon magic. They do work a lot with the Mesopotamian pantheon and systems, so that would be an area to look into. In fact, one of the books I got asked about a lot when we first started the channel was the Grimoire of Tiamat, which the very first page of that book actually has warnings on it, and with good reason. But it is a path working I'm hoping to get to do later on. But as you all know, I got stuff piling up left and right over here. Though I do have it, and I've read through it many times, I find it a fascinating read. The author did a great job with it. But the system of Mesopotamian magic and dragon magic are actually separated and different. They do approach them very differently. Sorry I missed your question. Didn't skip it on purpose. Like I said, this thing's jumping around. probably missing a lot of people's, and again, I apologize for that. Has anyone okay, Selena wants to know, has anyone watched the series Lucifer? Thoughts? Yeah, actually, I quite enjoyed it. Um, I can't say that that's what Lucifer's like, but some of the personality traits are definitely there. Lucifer is actually a pretty honest person or entity, so the doesn't lie aspect is there. He doesn't have all the godly hangups that that show has, but again, it's coming from Lucifer the angel, more of Lucifer the entity. Though the concept of hell and how it functions, that's actually gnosis that myself and like at least 40 other magicians have gotten. So it was really neat to actually see that implemented into a bit of pop culture. So I've actually relatively enjoyed that one. They'll get some pizza eventually. They can hold up. If I have to wait, they have to wait. That's only fair. Oh, no problem, man. Maurice, like I said, I'm sorry I missed it the first time you posted it. Shanae. Okay, apparently I've been pronouncing it enough that you. Okay, I appreciate that. I miss Shanae. Okay, cool. Thank you for that. Shanae, no, the Dragon Magic course, the way I set it up over on the school, you can sign up at any time and it is self-paced. There are sections where it says take at least a week and work through this to make sure you got it. But other than that, it's self-paced. You can take as long as you want. And the 101 course is about an 8th month course if you work start to finish without any breaks. And we're looking at Dragon Magic 102 around Yule or New Year's ish if I'm lucky. We're that it's we're running into some filming and editing issues. The lightning had played a hand in that. We have to do some reshoots. But yeah, it is. You can enroll at any time the way it's set up. And if you do enroll in it, join the Discord and let us know because there's actually a section of the Discord in there specifically for members of the school where we can talk about the classes, answer questions, stuff like that. So you're not even set out alone on it, and it's full video course and demos and all that. Maurice, I can't tell you where you should dwell more in the teachings. It's really up to you and your path. I don't particularly like trying to steer a person one way or the other in their path. Of the Mesopotamian practitioners I know, um, they've enjoyed it. They really have. 4 of them told me it's a rough road because it's pretty demanding, but they've enjoyed it and the progress they've made. But that's about the best I can give you. And if it interests you, I would definitely look into researching it at the bare minimum. Oh, they know they can go to the pizza party, but mind you, they wrecked the place. That's on you, Peachy. Okay. Yes, actually, both Draconic Magic and Dragon Magic, because I'm not sure which one you're actually asking there. So if I take it literally and say Draconic, yes, the Draconic Path, the Draconic Magic, and the Draconic Tradition, it's largely shadow work. That's the one reason the Draconic um, teachings are so harsh. And Dragon Magic itself, which is a separate system, yeah, the first 4 rulers help you start in dealing with things and getting you ready for deeper shadow work. But yeah, it's actually very helpful for shadow work. In fact, a few people here has actually already started working and doing some shadow work even with the first 4 rulers. So yeah, it's very helpful for it. In fact, I don't think I'd have made it through my shadow work without the dragons. Roses asked, "Do we know who created the runes and how come they seem to have their?" Are you talking about the Elder Futhar? Because if you are, that's in debate. Um, because some people will tell you it was a writing system created by people and accredited to Odin. Other people will tell us Odin gave us the runes, but when you read the myths, you see he didn't create them; they were given to him, and it's never strictly said where it comes from. And Odin's very cryptic anytime you talk to him about this. So their exact origins, currently, technically speaking, is unknown. But when Odin does talk about it, and from my research and others, there's some people who even think the runes might actually be sourced from the gods of the gods, if that makes some kind of sense. And that's actually something I'm wanting to get into researching shortly. That's actually going to basically follow up on the pathworking I'm getting ready to do with Odin and the spells from the Havamal. I hope that helps answer that question. Let's see. Pizza. Everyone's down for pizza. Okay, good to know. Okay, Selena asks also, why do deities, dragon, the Fae agree to work with humans? How do they benefit anything? Oh, that's actually a good question. Honestly, for dragons, it's about helping us be all that we can and stop being stupid. They actually want to educate us and help us to better ourselves and reach a higher point in our life and potentially even break out of the physical cycle and move into a higher reality, if you would. Some people call it sense, some people call it spiritual awakening. Call it what you want. They want us to move on to bigger and better things. And in so doing, this also helps them maintain the balance because they're all about the balance. And honestly, the one thing humans are good at is screwing up the balance in the physical realm. So by teaching us, it actually makes less work for them. So there is that also, but their main focus is actually they really do actually want to help us and better us. Um, the Fae that we entertain them. I'm not gonna lie, the Fae we entertain them. They really do. They work with us out of curiosity, and a lot of their stuff is based upon that. That and they do enjoy the physical realm, so they work with us as kind of a link between the physical realm, and they study us much of the same way we study them, really. So for them, it's just interest, intrigue, and hobbies. I heard one person describe the Fae's interest in humans as someone who plays and collects Magic the Gathering cards. So it's not inaccurate, but a lot of theirs is based on that intrigue. Um, and deities, it kind of the same thing. They're actually looking to help us. They do have some interest in us through that and everything. Now, some people will actually say that deities lack worship and that worship's where they get their power. And I was actually under that mindset for many, many years. However, working with multiple pantheons, deities across pantheons, I've found out honestly every human in existence, every entity in existence could stop worshiping them and they won't lose an ounce of power. Um, they don't require us at all. So it is actually just out of their own interest and desire to teach, help, in what ways they will. Every deity has their own interest, and they'll reach out to different people or the people who reach out to them. When you reach out to them, you're showing an initiative, and they'll work with you if you can keep up with them. Whew, I hope that helps, Selena. Uh, Maurice wants to know: is there any way I can link me to with one of them if you don't mind? Link you with what? I'm not sure what you're asking to be linked with here. No, Sakura. Draconic magic is actually so you can actually there's a video on the channel that describes the difference between draconic magic and dragon magic. Dragon magic actually focuses on working with dragons, where draconic magic focuses on working with dragons and serpent symbolism, and is a very harsh path of um, rebuilding oneself and a path of ascent through really tearing down the ego and the self and building oneself back up into a one almost one's personal divine state. It's a pretty harsh road, but it's a very cliffothic mindset in that particular path. Um, there is a um, there is a video on that that goes deeper into it that will help clear that up for you. Oh, to the other practitioners I know. I don't think any of them have a YouTube. I would actually love them to. That'd be hilarious. I'd have to ask them. I They're not big on giving out their personal information, but I will ask them for you. It does sound cool, but I'm not saying that's the truth. The gods of the gods sounds really cool. It's just from everything I've put together and others, it does fit, but I haven't dove enough into it to go further than that. So it's a theory only, Roses, theory only. Uh, yeah, yeah, Mathilda, they do. They face palm a lot because of us. They really do. Yeah, I figured that out, Maurice, and I will contact them and see if they'd be interested in helping you out. Most of them's not teachers. One of them is a teacher. I just don't know if they're big on internet stuff. So I'll ask, but I'll ask them all. That's not one I've read. Honestly, most of the Fae books I've picked up, I can't think of one I actually enjoyed. But the Fairy Bible, I have not read. In fact, that's one I've not heard of. So I'm going to have to check that one out now because I'm always looking for a Fae book that is more functional that I can point people toward. And that has been the hardest thing over the years. And of course, now the queens are like, well, we can fix that because we're going to make you do it. Yay, thank you, queenies. Um, and hopefully, I do a fair job at communicating the information. But thank you, Roses. I will check that book out. Dennis, the main reason for that is as entities within the multiverse, we're young. We are still in diapers. For as long as humanity has been around, compared to the other entities, we're still in diapers. We're maybe 2 years old at this point. So Lord help us when we get to our terrible twos, right? But yeah, that's the main reason. We're still very young as a group of entities. Nubis asks if you don't feel any different after doing the ritual of the flame, did you do it incorrectly? Not necessarily. Some people starting out new to magic, energy shifts and everything aren't something that is easy to pick up on. And the amount of energy that is pushed through a ritual is also based on your ability to focus and your how deep into the ritual you go. So the first time you do a ritual, it's not uncommon to feel next to nothing or nothing because you're so focused on doing it right and getting the steps down. And as you progress and do it more and get more comfortable with it, the energy begins to ramp up quickly. So no, that doesn't mean you did it incorrectly at all. There's plenty of references of the Fae in the physical realm, and even they've made comments to me about it. So, they don't. I mean, they're not necessarily a full-time physical realm entities, but they're one of the styles of entities that spend more time in the physical realm than not. Interestingly enough, so that's an interesting statement. Do I know anything about the Key of Solomon? Was he a person or a deity? From the best of my knowledge, Solomon actually was a human and potentially one of the best wizards or magicians in history. Um, to the authenticity of the Goetia or the Key of Solomon, that has always been some debate. Um, but yeah, the Solomonic practice and everything in the Goetia, I've worked through it a time or two. I'm not big on the rituals and the practices because I personally don't find it's a good idea to start any working or relationship by threatening an entity, which is when you translate the rituals, that's very much what they are. They're just threats and browbeating. But the entities contained therein and the pentagrams contained in and the sigils and the seals, the power that you can harness using them works really, really well. Let's see. All right, we are over an hour, so if you have any final questions, I'm going to cover some of these, and we will get ready to wrap up here tonight because I got pizza to eat. And you guys have had some awesome questions tonight. I really appreciate it. Thank you for being so patient with the new chat box I'm having to get used to here. Hopefully they'll patch it so I get my old style back as well. I appreciate that. YouTube. Yeah, Mystic. Mystic says that they've been trying to find books on dragons, draconic magic, or dragon magic. There does not seem to be a lot out there, and it's really sad. And I've had plenty of viewers ask me to publish, and we are working on potentially transferring the path working into a book as well as a grimoire of all the different dragons that I've worked with over the years and describing them and some of the lore. Um, so we are actually looking at potentially publishing more books on dragon magic and trying to fill that gap. Though it is also my hope that many of you who take the dragon magic classes also publish your findings and take where we're at and continue that growth forward. So, but yeah, I wish there was more out there myself. Shanae, you are welcome. Thank you for being you as well, and thank you for supporting the channel. I appreciate it. And well, all I can be is me. I'm not very good at faking it, so I might as well just be authentic. Southern accent and all. Even if I'm goofy. Let's see here. Wendy's. Wendy wants to know, what if I do work with this darkness dragon? What could the drawbacks be? The drawbacks could be your shadow self actually turning on you 100% without warning. Where most times when you work with a darkness dragon, you build up, you work through the different rulers and the lessons, and then the draconic alchemy. There's an entire massive process that goes into that before you reach out to the dragons of darkness in order to prepare you for working with them. None of that's there. And it can actually lead to emotional issues because there's a lot of people when they get hit with a lifelong buildup of whatever it is they've had to deal with. Um, They're not ready for it. They're really not. So it really comes off as a really, really bad experience, and traumatic experience is the best way to put it. And it's not going to be quick. Oftentimes, these forms of experiences, when churned up and you're not ready for it, they last anywhere from a couple of years to 5 years. They don't pass quickly. It brings on what most people would probably term a dark night of the soul, and that night lasts a long time. Aw, my beard looks like a. I love that. That's great, Slade. Appreciate it. Let's see. Anubis asks, "What's the greatest mage in history you've heard or met?" Not including your great mage. Oh, so not including myself. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't have picked me. I wouldn't have picked me. So if we're talking in real life, um, I'm actually going to have to go with Raven Bella, one of my instructors. That girl is hands down one of the best magical practitioners I've ever encountered. Some of the stuff that she has done with magic really just baffles me. She's pushed areas of magic to levels I want to get to. Historically, I don't know. I've not spent a lot of time evoking historical mages like Solomon. It's like when that question was asked, and I was like, why haven't I ever invoked Solomon to talk to him? But I didn't. It's like all the lore and everything that points to him being one of the greatest magicians. You figure I'd have thought of that before, but I hadn't. So, um, historically, the records of Merlin and Solomon are the two that stand out most to me. Um, and I know that there's reasons to think they might be mythical characters, and there's reasons to believe they might be real magicians. We're not 100% sure. So, historically, I'd say those two. I appreciate it, Dennis. It's just been a long week, but a good week. It's been a good week. So I'm sure I'll get some rest tonight. Roses asks, is there such a thing as your shadow self? Yes. Your shadow self is a amalgamation of everything that you deny, everything you're afraid of, different traumas or pains in your life that you don't want to deal with. So you just kind of push them to the side. This makes up your shadow self, including aspects of yourself that you don't want to admit. Like if you're someone who gets angry about things, but you don't want to be an angry person, or jealousy, or any of those negative things that we try to hide, those do make up your shadow self. Now, a lot of modern books will tell you you need to banish your shadow self and get rid of it. This is a bad idea because you're literally taking a piece of you, cutting it out, and throwing it away, leaving you as an incomplete and very unhealthy person. Shadow work is about actually healing the shadow self, working with the shadow self, and uniting fully with the shadow self in order to be a whole and complete person, which self mastery is, of course, the main goal in magic. And so, yeah, shadow work's a big deal. But yeah, shadow self is very much a real thing. Oh, Merlin, man, I appreciate that. He says, I almost feel bad reading this one, but just go for Drake's classes, guys. You don't need books about dragons. I can tell you, you are the best, Drake. Much love, blessings for you, my man. Have a good night, and thanks for everything. Well, Merlino, I appreciate the shout out, my man. I really do. And thank you very much. You have a wonderful and blessed evening as well. Uh, I don't know how much of her practice that she wants me to particularly talk about. Let's see. Well, for example, when it comes to her connection with her property or the land around her home, she can tell you where every living thing on her property is at any given time just by closing her eyes and focusing. And she knows the instant someone steps foot on her property or her territory and she's never wrong about it at all. She can tell you every aspect about them, what they look like, how much they weigh, their body temperature. Her connection with the area around her is that insanely high, which this is one of the particular areas that fascinates me the most. So, yep, even Odin, yeah, in the Volspot, yeah. Odin will totally speak with the dead and learn from them. You are absolutely correct, Mysterious. No, 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 no. Letting go, forgiving, that stuff's not destroying. That's not what to talk. That's actually what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to let go. You're supposed to forgive. You're supposed to heal. Um, that's the kind of stuff you're supposed to do, Mathilda. Um, well, in my life, I can't speak for everyone's life, but in my life, Raven's definitely one of a kind. She is a class act, powerful magician, wise beyond her years. I really can't say I've met anyone like her, but I can't just say like I'm not going to put her up on a pedestal entirely because we're all individuals. We're all different in some ways. Like um, a friend of mine's daughter, Katrina, I think I've mentioned her a time or two. She is an amazing sorceress. Her entire focus has been in blood magic for years upon ends. And I've never met a blood magician of her caliber. She's very unique in that respect, but it's because of her focus. So, abilities there, the capabilities there, you just got to have the ability to do it, focus, and the determination and drive. Raven has dedicated her entire life from a very young age to magic. And so, all right, last few questions here. Let's see. Very honestly, dragons will make themselves known to you for any number of reasons, even just for fun. Just because a dragon makes itself known to you really doesn't make it that big of a deal. They can do it for so many different reasons, but I wouldn't ask for its name. I would wait until you get to that stage and you're working with the ruler of darkness or the dragons of darkness, and then ask the ruler about this dragon. That would be the route I'd go with that. Andrew, I'm so glad you was able to make it too. Oh, Lauren, appreciate it. Y'all are sweet, man. I appreciate you all. Y'all really are awesome, and you really do make this worth doing it. You really do. Yes, she even knows where all the spiders are, and even leeches because she lives out in the bayous. So yeah, they're all kind. She knows where all the creepy crawlies are. Not entirely sure I want to know where all the creepy crawlies are, but she does. I'm trying to get her on here if I can at some time to actually be on the stream with me. So far, she keeps shooting me down, but I am trying to get her on here, and we're going to keep trying. All right, everyone, let's get ready to close this out. I appreciate everyone and your questions. You have been absolutely awesome tonight and great questions. Absolutely. I am going to continue working on the Dragon Magic 102, and we're going to try and get that out. Even with the delays, I'm still hoping to get it out. For those of you working on the 101 class, don't rush through it. Take your time. Make sure you got the material and you feel good and solid on it. Because even if it releases, you don't have to jump into 102 right away. We are going to be starting to film those rune videos to try and do a rune class in a playlist, like I said, so keep your eyes out for that. We do have another ruler video coming out very shortly, actually. I believe it actually is Nocturnaras, the ruler of darkness. So the darkness ruler, I believe's video is coming out probably the first of the month, I think, right around there. So keep your eyes out for that. And I got a surprise for you all Sunday for the Magical Coffee Hour. So tune in. You'll probably know what the surprise is before the stream starts. But I do hope to see you all over at the Magical Coffee Hour on Sunday as well. And if you need coffee cups or you want a magic circle like this that you can use for your rituals, it's all available at the merch shop. Or you can hang it on your wall like this. Go check out the merch shop and help support us. Also, the Patreon. Everyone who does support us through Patreon, I appreciate it so much. Everything you do for me and my family to allow us to continue to do this and to bring and share this knowledge with everybody. It's a huge help. I appreciate it. And with that said, everyone, you have a wonderful evening. Get some rest. Keep on doing the magics and keep on getting the awesome results. And if you haven't already, join us over in Discord. And I will see you all later. Take it easy.